Hey guys, what is going on? Carter here. Got another budget tactical folder knife for you here. We're going to do a quick little review. This is on a Hallmark Cutlery produced Bad Bloodline Yokai flipper. It is based on a collaboration piece by David Mosier and Kendrick. If you saw my video on the Partisan Nano, this is based solely on a Kendrick design, whereas this is based off of a custom collaboration between Kendrick and David Mosier. Whoa, look at that chisel grind. And this is quite the beast. You can see the size difference right off the bat. We'll get more into detail on that later, but it is a very large knife. It is a very heavy knife. Just like the Partisan Nano, it is heavy. But let's get some specs here. It has over a 4-inch blade, about 4 1/8 inches total. Total length is 9.5 inches. So it is a very large knife and it is a very heavy knife. And we'll take a look at that right now. Coming in at, I believe, 8.6 ounces. Little lower than I was thinking, but it is heavy. It does carry well. And if you're prepared for the weight, it's not going to bug you that much. But if you're used to lightweight folders, this is not going to be for you. Let's talk about what you get here. 8CR 14 MOV steel. Same thing in the Partisan Nano. You can see the logos right there. Since I've got it, let's take a closer look. There is Kendrick's logo on the left. The sweet, scary looking skull screaming at you with a K on the forehead. And then the nice, elegant David Mosier sun with the circle logo around it. Very, very nice. You can see the grind lines on the steel right there. And this, in my opinion, is above average grind work coming out of China. Or at least that's, what I think. See if we can keep this in focus. You can see how crisp a lot of these grind lines are. Most of the time when you get Chinese-made knives, the grind lines are kind of dulled. I don't know what they do, like they take them and buff them or something like that, but you don't really get that crisp line work that you do on other knives. Come on, focus. Maybe that'll work. Hold it back a little farther. No. Wow, it's just really struggling today. Sorry, guys. You can see how it has the alternating grind lines, similar to the Cold Steel Ultimate Hunter that I showed on this channel. You've got horizontal grind lines on the flats there, and of course the vertical lines on the grinds themselves. And of course that's a product of the actual grinding work, how knives are put together. You do the flat planing, which gives the horizontal lines, and then of course the grind work on the wheels and things like that. But I like the way the alternating grind lines look, and I think this looks sweet. The chisel grind on this is done in the correct fashion as most people would consider it, where the flat side's on the left-hand side. It comes razor sharp out of the box. I was very surprised at how sharp this is. This is a flipper, and as you probably just saw, it flips really, really well. Out of the box, it was a little stiff, but once you put some oil on this thing, it flies open. The scales are made out of G10, and they have a really nice texturing on there. Gives it a nice appearance as well as very functional grip. It's not an Anzo pattern. It's kind of I'm not sure what you would call that, but it's similar to what is on the custom version of this particular knife. Steel liners right there, satin finish rather than bee blasted. G10 backspacer, very thick liners by the way. And also on the Partisan Nano, you can see how it has a cutout. Those liners are so thick they had to do a cutout. Nice early lockup right there in the middle, and the lockup is very, very solid on this. Ergonomics, really, really nice. You can see how your hand fits right in here. Reminds me of a Emerson, the way this feels in your hand. It feels really, really good. This jimping is pretty useless. Mostly just decoration. Very, very light jimping. Doesn't feel all that great. The detent in the closed position is pretty nice. No slop or anything like that. It's kind of weak. You can shake it out if you give it some force, but nothing crazy. It's not like the blade is falling out of the handle or anything like that. You do have to give it a really good shake in order to see it won't even come out. And that's what helps with the flipper action, which I was very surprised with. I was worried that this thing was not going to flip very well, and it actually flips very, very, very well indeed. Now the pocket clip, you can see the carry depth on this. Not that great. If you like really deep carry knives, you are probably not going to like this. You can see how much sticks out of your pocket, quite a lot. I don't really care so much. I think this is fine. It gives you something to hold on to. This one's, kind of pushing it for me. in terms of depth. I also don't really like design feature-wise. I don't like this clip. I think it looks kind of cheap. However, it does function very well. Great retention. Goes in the pocket very, very nicely. Comes out of the pocket very nicely. I just don't like the way it looks. I don't think these holes are necessary. I don't really like this setup here. Now, that being said, this doesn't have the same issue. Actually, look, it does. Wow, I was going to say it didn't have the same issue as the Partisan Nano with the clip that slides around. However, I may just need to tighten this up. I will have to look at why that is moving like that. It looks almost like, I don't know. The screws don't appear to be moving, so it could just be the hole in the clip itself has a little bit of slack. I might be able to tighten this down and get that fixed. I'll get back to you on that, guys. I had tried to move it around earlier. I didn't notice any issues like I did with the Partisan Nano until right now when I really kind of push on it. I am able to get some sliding on that pocket clip, which is kind of a little annoying, but it doesn't seem to be the same issue as the Partisan Nano, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more in the future. Now, one thing I found quite interesting with this knife is out of the box, the blade almost had like a pseudo kind of clay temper type look to it, and I couldn't quite figure it out. I'd noticed it in some pictures, you know, kind of like how makers will take 1095 high carbon steel and they'll do, you know, some clay treatments on there and get differential treatments on it so you get the Hamon line and things like that. It kind of had something similar, like it had you know, kind of like a different texture type thing and some circles on here, both sides, especially on the flat. But once I took some oil to the blade and wiped it down, it came right off. So I'm assuming that was intentional, like they were trying to make it kind of look like an upper end custom knife with like a Hamon or some sort of maybe light acid dip type thing to it, but it certainly came off right away and just left a regular satin blade in its place. So overall, I think this is a great knife for its price range, $40. It's heavy, but you get an awesome design. If you're into David Mosier, if you're into Sean Kendrick, this is definitely worth picking up and putting in your collection. These are also good kind of start-off points for customization. Now, I haven't tried to take this one apart to see if I have the same stuck screws like I did on the Partisan Nano, but I definitely will. I didn't buy this thinking that I would modify it because I actually really like the satin finish that's on the blade. I like the way it flips. There's nothing I would really change on this, except it would be cool to take it apart and cut some lightning holes into the scales there to remove some of the weight on this. If you were to take some of the weight down on this handle, this thing would be a screamer of an EDC large tactical flipper. As it stands right now, it is a heavy, heavy tactical flipper. Oh, I did want to show you one thing that I didn't like. Look at the lock face. That thing is a mess. That is a freaking mess. I don't know if that's just a one-off problem. I don't, you know, the lock face on the Partisan Nano is perfect. But look how chewed up that is over there. It's actually kind of missing some of the surface towards the back over here, which is where your blade actually engages. Now, so far, it doesn't seem to actually affect the strength of the lock, at least with, you know, kind of practical hand tests, making sure it doesn't slide. It seems fine, it seems tight, but it does make me nervous. I don't know if we can get any closer, if my camera is going to focus, probably not. But it does make me nervous with how weird and wonky that lock face is on there. You can see how chewed up it looks. And, you know, like I said, I don't know if that was a one-off problem with just this one. It just, you know, made it past QC and didn't end up right, or if all of those kind of look like that. I find that hard to believe that it would be kind of messed up like that. But like I said, so far, it's, you know, the lockup's good. It's nice and tight. You can get a little bit of wiggle if you really muscle it on the up and down, where I think this is probably just sliding just an ever small amount, but overall, really good. The other thing I wanted to mention, kind of downsidey, you don't really get very good thumb placement on releasing this knife. You can't get your thumb in there very well. I mean, it hasn't been a problem so far with me actually not being able to disengage, but it just doesn't feel as nice as you would like. I would like to see a little relief cut on this side. You can see how it's just straight across. And there's also no beveling or anything on the inside, or at least if there is, very, very, very little. I can't quite tell if that's beveling or not. It doesn't feel like it. Now I can still get my thumb in there, but you've got to make sure and angle it like straight on. Can't really get it on the side. You'll just kind of slide right off. So other than those points, this is a great knife for the money. Looks really cool. I like that chisel grind. I'm a sucker for chisel grinds. I know a lot of people don't like them. I do, especially in a blade this big. I think it's pretty cool. But that's it, guys. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe. Let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you think of anything. I'm out of here. My name's Carter. Thanks for watching. See ya.